Hey, this is Gabriel from the Hosted Runner team at GitLab, and today I want to give you a quick walkthrough of what we have planned in the upcoming iteration and what we have recently finished. Before we start, quickly again showing our directions page. Who are we? We are the group that hosts runners for GitLab.com, and our portfolio as of right now is hosted runners on Linux, hosted runners on Linux Farm, tube-enabled hosted runners on macOS and Windows. Let me jump. What did we recently release? With this release, announcing it today, we have introduced hosted runners on Linux ARM in a medium and large format. So with 4 and 8 vCPUs respectively, you can now run your jobs natively in ARM, which we are super excited about because you can build natively on your target platform if you are building for ARM processors. Yeah, very excited about your feedback using them. Please feel free to always reach out if there's anything. Then jumping into our documentation, I've done a bigger rehaul in this last iteration on our documentation page. What you will find here now is a bit more concise content on our runners that we offer, and then a newly introduced architecture diagram. I think hosted runners specifically was complicated for some people to understand how the setup looks like. So I've created this architecture diagram for anybody to understand how jobs are fully isolated, how they authenticate towards GitLab, how they reach the public internet if that's decided or defined in the job configuration. So yeah, that's about it. If you want to know more about the newly introduced ARM runners, you can find how to use them here in the Linux page. That's it for updates in 17.0, and now looking forward to what we're working on right now in this new iteration. I think this one is a bit more technical. This is the first priority. We ran into VPC peering limits, which is our current VPC architecture, and we knew that we have to address this. And we are now seeing for the first time that we are reaching some limitations. So we set this as priority 1 to work on to find a new way to connect VPCs that doesn't stop by the limit of 70. Then next up is a topic that usually Joe presents here. She couldn't make it today, which is another thing we're very excited about. It's steps for actions. So you've heard us talk about steps before. Steps are reusable job components that can be run completely independently, also locally, or people can then use them as building blocks in their pipeline configurations to do their different steps. And then this one thing focuses on not only supporting GitLab native steps, but even running GitHub Actions right as a step, which is gonna add tremendous value because there's a lot of great actions out there which people really love using. So yeah, we will in the first iteration focus on the most upvoted or most starred actions and try to make them work. So yeah, see this as experimental, but if you're interested, we'd be super excited to get your feedback using some of these actions. Next up, step runner integration. You might have seen the documentations page or recent updates on step runner, which is the vehicle to execute any of these steps we just talked about. And the idea is to integrate it fully into GitLab Runner so that people don't need to download step runner binary in Runner and only then can execute it, but that you can just define step and then basically run your step within GitLab Runner without doing anything. This last, or not last, but this other P2 thing here is about GitLab Runner Infrastructure Toolkit, our Terraform modules library. And for this, we want to finalize our AMI pipeline. So in this first iteration, we focused on, or in this instance, we focus on AWS. And we want to make it as easy as possible for people to scale up runners from scratch using Terraform with Grid. And this army pipeline will allow users to basically just take a published army that we provide. So you don't have to create your own army and kind of can get going instantly. It doesn't mean you can still define your own army and use that and override it, but you don't need to. So yeah, we'll make self-managed runners a lot easier to getting started with. And then the last one here, our initial goal, if you saw our last kickoff, we wanted to release M2 Pro large macOS instances, and we had to pull them off on very short notice because the performance wasn't as expected. So yeah, we all dig in deeper and try to make some improvements so we can release them hopefully as soon as possible. Then another thing here is we are striving to release another macOS image with I think Xcode 15.4 or something. I would have to check the exact version, 15.3, macOS 14.4, and some other updates. Yeah, that's about it. We have this last think big item, which is something R&D related, where we want to think about how we can create a scaling mechanism that's more predictive. So we basically don't have to run as many idle machines, but know when load patterns are going to happen, which is something we're also very excited about. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please leave feedback. See you next time.